Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be showing you some of the updates here on this Trans Am GTA. Now I have been painting the panels on this car one at a time, both bumpers, the deck lid, and the spoiler, and today I will be focusing on the hood. Now it is somewhat frowned upon painting a car one panel at a time, but you can kind of get away with it when you're painting a solid color like a white or a red or anything that doesn't have metallics. If your car does have metallics, then you will need to spray the whole car complete at once. Now I do want to note that when I do the sides of this vehicle, I will do the sides and the top at once, and the car should blend in very well. But as I've mentioned, I will be focusing on the hood today. As you can tell, it does have some characteristics that need attention. The side vents here are missing the internal pieces, so I will be removing these vents, painting them, and installing new trim pieces. And these front vents need attention as well. The internal grille here is painted white, which should be black. So I will be removing these and refinishing them. And the hinges to the hood need some attention as well. So I will be removing these and refinishing them. Which brings me to the last item of note. As you can tell, this underhood insulation is deteriorated and just plain old ugly. So I will be removing this insulation, polishing out the hood, and installing new insulation to finish up this project. So let's get started on this now. Now I will start off by removing the hood and hinge as one complete assembly. Now with the complete hood assembly removed, I will be removing the hinges off of the hood. And now it's time to remove this crusty insulation. Now removing these side vents can be a little tricky. So what you'll do is you'll use a metal screwdriver to pry in on the metal clips located here and in here. Once you pry on those metal clips, you can use a plastic tool to pry out the vent from the outside of the hood. Now the front vents are easy to remove. You just have to remove the two speed nuts holding it from the inside here, and she'll slide right out. Now that I have the underside of the hood nice and clean, I will be blocking the hood with 220 grit sandpaper to remove all of the scratches and pits. Now some areas will go down to the primer and other areas will go down to the metal, which will require new coats of primer. So I did notice that the hood has some areas that are going to require a little bit of body filler. So I will apply a very thin layer of body filler onto the panel, sand it down, and get the hood ready for primer. Now that the hood and all the small parts have been primered, I'm going to sand them down with 600 grit sandpaper and get them ready for the base coat. So now I have all of my parts sanded down with 600 grit and I'm ready to apply the base coat. As you can tell, I am spraying outdoors, so I did take my garden hose and wet down everything as much as possible to keep the dust to a minimum. All right, now I have everything based and we're ready to shoot the clear coat. Now that the clear coat has dried, I will start reassembling these small pieces so we can wrap up this job. Now I was able to find some new trim pieces for these side vents, and to install them you just snap them into place. For the front vents you can tell I painted the grille and it'll look really nice assembled. And it just attaches with the 3 speed nuts on the back. And I also installed new lift supports for the hinges. I chose to paint the hardware black as I thought it looks good against the white paint. And now it's time to reinstall the hood. And now for the fun part, let's reinstall the vents. And the last step is to install the new insulation. This project took me a few days to complete, but it was well worth the effort. As you can tell, the hood looks pretty good. And I'm not really shooting for perfect, as it is an old car with some miles on it, so I believe it looks a lot better than it did. And I was very glad to find these trim pieces for the vents, as I really think they bring out the hood. And the underhood insulation looks pretty good. Now it's not a perfect fit, as the original one was molded to the hood, but I still think it gives the hood a nice finished look. Now I was debating whether or not to paint the hinges, but I am glad I did, as it really wraps up this project. And I do think the hood matches the older painted parts pretty well. As you can tell, I did paint the bumper and the headlights earlier in the year, and the paint match is pretty good. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.